Alright, so this is a video of my new 95-gallon tank. I took down the 220-gallon, or at least in the process of doing so, and set this one up. A lot of this stuff is DIY, as much as I can, so as you go you'll see how DIY I go with everything. So this is an anemone and clown tank, although I only have one clown and I have 4 anemones, and a rock flower if you want to count that one, although it doesn't move. So lights are Chinese black boxes for the moment. The light bar literally is a picture hanging wired and a 2x4, and then I've rigged. This one I actually didn't have the mounting cables. I have them somewhere. I don't know where they are. They're in my storage unit. So this one I used the picture wire hanging stuff and did the same thing. So it does actually sit a little lower, but it is what it is until I get everything taken care of. So just to give you guys a full view here, this is what we're looking at. So I really like the tank. It's really cool. The footprint's absolutely amazing, especially for an anemone tank. So just to go over kind of some of the stuff I've got here. It comes in, it drains down. The plumbing I kind of got a little creative with, but the plumbing does drain in the middle there, goes down, and then drains into the sump. I did that so that I could tee the 2 returns together from the return pump. So that actually worked pretty well. I do have a, I guess kind of like a phosphate reactor sitting in. It wouldn't sit outside. I wanted to put it in the back right here, but it won't fit, and the sump won't slide any farther forward. I do like to kind of try to keep, the sides open, and I had plans anyways as it was. So it's sitting in the sump, and then the pump runs. And this has all kinds of media in it, different stuff, Purigen, denitrate. There's an ammonia remover. There's a couple of products in there. All of them are a 3 to 6 month replacement. So I did that because I didn't want to put like carbon in it, because then obviously I have to get in there every month, so it's a little annoying. I do have my Chaeto over here. I'm going to work on something as far as just keeping it, because the overflow goes down through the bottom and then up, and I don't want the Chaeto to make it like into the skimmer and clog the skimmer pump or something like that. So, and then the skimmer here, this actually came with the tank. Really nice skimmer, way over skimmed for this tank, but it's actually working really well, so I'm pretty happy with it. I did have to put an elbow here instead of this pipe, because this pipe was making it was splashing and it was really loud. I don't have doors on it yet, so that's not going to help, obviously. And then I know there's a bunch of equipment here. I do have the auto top off there on the end of the sump. The heater is in the return chamber. And there is a little pump there, and then I have my DC controllable pump, as a used one I got with the tank. Actually works really well. I had to angle it downwards because I was getting a siphon from the water level. So the water level is even pretty high, and it still was siphoning. So I just said screw it, and I put the elbow in there. It's actually just stuck to it. I didn't glue it or anything like that. It's just sitting there. But works pretty well. I'll probably put another light in here, and you'll see why here in a minute. So there is my auto top-off tank. It is a 5-gallon. I may upgrade to like a 15 tall pretty soon. The only reason a 15 tall is because the area that I have available there literally fits a 5-gallon. This is right up to the edge, so when I put a door on there on the front, that still fits. The reason that's so snug is because this is the other tank I put in. This used to be my auto top off. It's a 20-gallon tall acrylic. Actually drilled it last night and put it together. So the pump's not hooked up yet, but that little pump down here runs up and will go into here, which has the little return, and then there's a gravity drain right there through the back. It drops back into the sump. So this idea would be quarantine, not to be medicated, but quarantine for adapting to the tank, and or possibly down the road clownfish. So we'll ultimately see what happens there. I do have the power supply there. I have Wi-Fi controlled ones, but since I don't have Wi-Fi at home, no point in putting them together right now, so I'm not really worried about it. And then I did as best I could. I did run the cables up on top, and I actually had to put another power supply right there to get to the auto top off and the pump for this tank. So, and ultimately when the doors do go on, I'm going to put a pretty decent size, I think 120 millimeter computer fan on here to, you know, keep moisture obviously out of the surge protectors and just avoid any kind of mold or anything like that growing in here. There's a hole in the back right there that's drilled. This one I ran the cables through, but there is one back there. I can probably do a smaller fan, and then we'll see what will work from there. I think initially the person I got it from wanted to put fans here. I'm not too keen on that just because obviously dust settles downwards. I have an AC vent right there that blows pretty much onto the tank. It does go over it, but I don't want to have like dust or anything settling into the fans, pumping it right into the sump. I'm probably just going to put a sheet to cover that, stain it the same color, run trim around it, just make it look nice, and go from there. The stand is a little bit bigger. That's because of the size of the sump. It is a 40-gallon sump, and it's significantly longer. It's not much longer than the physical main tank, but you know, giving you room for other stuff, significant room. It's just it came out a little bit farther, but it doesn't bother me at all. It does come out a little far into the living room, which was a bit of a concern for me, but once the 220 gallon comes down, I'll be able to actually move things around and make the living room a little more open. I did decide on this location, one, because then I didn't have to take the 220 down in order to set this one up. I could just transfer everything. And then additionally, I liked the location because it kind of gave it that peninsula look right there on the corner. You can't miss it from anywhere. I mean, even down, all the way down from the hallway, you know, you've got a good view of it. From the entry door, you got a good view, and then all around in the living room as well, you've got a decent view. So, yeah, I pretty much packed the stand pretty full of stuff. I'm pretty excited. I need to get some salt water to get into this tank to fill it up. I don't have any right now, so once I get that filled up, I can actually test out how it all works. Based on everything I can tell, I did test for leaks and everything. Everything looks like it'll work fine. I'll just have to do a little bit more cord management of above it just to make sure nothing drops inside, and then we'll see. So, I mean, theoretically, that would make my sump right around 55 gallons, technically, as far as water volume, just adding to the tank. So there's about, I would say, 20 to 25 gallons in the 40-gallon sump, and then there'll be 15 gallons in here. So, you know, we say 35 to 40 gallons total added to the 95. It does give a pretty decent extra water volume for it. So, yeah. And I don't have, right now, I don't have much hooked up to the tank. I have the return pump. The return pump, I have this dualed, which did reduce the flow a little bit as far as, but it does disperse the flow, which is pretty good. And then that side's a single. And then I did drop a Corellia in there, which is pushing pretty good, which is nice. And it's very, very clear, as you can see. And all this stuff, the sand is new, but all the rock and everything was transferred over from the other tank. But it was cloudy for about 3 hours, and then it cleared up pretty well. So I'm happy with the results. I like it, and it really is coming together. I'm going to work a little bit with the light bar over the next couple of weeks just to try to get something working. I do have a current LED reef light that I had up there, and I liked it, but the anemones didn't seem to care for it just because it was one. I also need to find the remote for it. So, but working on some light options there. The fans, I don't know if you can hear them, but they are not very quiet. The Chinese black boxes are known for like fans going out and stuff like that. In this case, they're not going out; they're just getting louder. So at least for now, that's the issue. But I like these because I got them on Amazon, and they came with a remote, and you can each one comes with a remote, but you can program them both to work off the same remote. Not all these functions work, but you do have controllability with it as far as that's concerned. There's another model that you can do like programming and stuff. This doesn't have that. You've got on, off, and then you can control your colors. But that's pretty much the gist of that. So let me know what you guys think. Any suggestions, thoughts? If you like it, like it. If not, let me know what I can do. I'm not incredibly new to saltwater, but I'm enjoying this tank. Let me know what you think.